Welcome back to another episode on Grouse 4x4, guys. This time we are going to be getting the front diff back in the car, steering box brace, changing the splitter gears. Depending how I go and how well it all fits in, we should have this as a roller, steering, patrol center, 80 CVs. Be an interesting one. If I can get it to roller, next step, paint. The other day when I went and picked up my diff from Matt, while I was up there, I seen someone had a steering box, a GU steering box. So I finally got that. I already had the upgrade kit. I just needed to put it in. I need the steering box to be able to finish it. So I hadn't started on it. Before I go put this diff in, I'm gonna actually do the steering box because it's gonna be way easier to sit in there with nothing in my way and weld it all out how I need to. So we'll rip into this steering box build first. I'll give you a comparison on an 80 to a GU. The GU just looks massive, even just carrying it compared to the 80 series one. The reason we do GU steering boxes, they're bigger, stronger, less likely to leak, easier to turn, bigger tires. They're better for wheeling. And my last trip when I bent my diff housing, I also snapped two steering boxes. I sheared the pitman arm on both of them. So while I was at it doing the rest of the car, we might as well upgrade everything else to something stronger. So when I was talking to Matt the other day about this whole steering box scenario, I told him I already had a brace kit, and he said just put this fish plate over the existing fish plate. You guys would probably be a pain in the ass to cut out and all that sort of stuff. They do have instructions on the little sheet that you get. You scan the QR code and it does explain it very well. What he said with these, so these four here are existing Toyota ones, and then this is GU ones, right? He said these are a 12mm hole, but the crush tube that you need to put in is an 18mm hole. With the crush tube, bolt this on, drill out all your 12mm holes, take this back off, then drill the crush tube hole to 18, then put this back over. So leave these as a 12. And the reason he said that, he goes, otherwise what you'll have is the crush tube over time, it'll start to walk out of the hole. So if you drilled these to an 18, it would actually pull back through. He goes, that's our most common repair job, is fixing these steering boxes, because people drill them out to 18 and then this just walks out because it's only got a small weld sort of holding it together, and all the weight is just on these bolts. So if you leave them as a 12, what happens, this crush tube here that comes through the chassis, it can't go back through the hole. So once this gets welded on, instead of having 10mm of weld holding this on, you've got 250mm of weld bracing this in. He goes, that's the best way to do it. I'll put that right there. I'm going to bolt them together, drill out my 12mm holes, and then I can go ahead and finish off everything else I need to do. I'll go get a 12mm bit now and drill these holes out. They're going to be a fucking pain to drill because of the fish plate I've already got on. So as you can see here, holes are all drilled. I had to go buy drill bits and stuff, so it's like a couple days later now. Drill bits are very expensive, by the way. I brought really good ones because I didn't want to snap them, and I'm going through 6mm chassis, really thick. So my two drill bits, an 18mm, which is for the main holes to put the crush tubes in, and then my drill bit to drill out the pitman arm, which is a 25mm, cost me like $170 for two drill bits. Ridiculous. They have special cone piece on the top of it for the first 10mm, so it's like a step drill, so you don't blunt the tip out all the time, because that's the problem. They're made for cobalt. They're the really high grade ones, which are good. But as you can see, what I'm getting to, I've weld through primered the inside of that. I've weld through primered the inside of my plate that's going to weld over that, so that way it's all Mickey Mouse. I'm going to go bolt my plate on, fully weld that out, and then I can put my GU box on. Well, as you can see, we're making progress. Painted diff, it's straight as well, which is a positive. I haven't been doing much filming because I've been fighting the steering box all week. I'm not going to get into detail on what happened, but the GU box is in. I need to get some more 25mm drill bits because let's just say the other one went blunt. Very annoying. But hey, GU box is in, lines are hooked up, air box is back in, everything's good. What you got to do with the GU box conversion, you need to actually get rid of this piece here. So what happens is you undo that bolt, it sleeves off, and then you put the 80 series one on, because this big round circular thing does not fit. That big dog there does not fit. And talking to Sean and Berto, they said these fuck out anyway. Put the 80 series one on it. Finish that coat of paint. I'm gonna put the heater on in here for half an hour, and then I can start putting this back under the car and rebuilding everything. I'm gonna pretty much do a full front end rebuild. Once I do the full front end rebuild, then I can put the Patrol Diff into it, put my CVs in. Mickey Mouse is gonna be a roller again. I just gotta put some fuel hose from my fuel tank in the back to the front, or just to the fuel lines actually, and then I got to find the wiring. Hopefully the wiring I can get to the dash. It'll be a roller, it'll be driving. The only thing that will be really left to do on the outside is paint. So what I'm doing, I've just got my front little bit of my front tail shaft so I can work out where to drill my new holes into the drive flange, I believe it is, I don't know. Pinion flange. So I'm just working out where my holes need to be re-drilled to suit an 80 series bolt pattern on the pinion flange. So what I did is I drew like an X to find central, and then I've got it clamped there, and I'm going to go around and measure, make sure everything's the same distance to the outside of the pinion flange to make sure I'm pretty well center. Cool, they're all marked out now. What I'll do is I'll drill them. Right, we're going to go and change the spider gears in this Patrol Center now. I've set my vise up, just checking the backlash to see what it is. I'll be able to find out what the spec is on ARB. I believe you want to aim for, it's like 0.0015 or something close to that. What I've done, I put a screw through the pinion flange into this timber bench here, so the pinion doesn't move. Got it all clamped up, everything's set. If I check this out, at the moment we're currently at, let's just go with like 18, 19. So I don't know how well you could see that backlash there, but if I go and pull on it, I twist this little dial here so it's a bit easier to read. We're on 0, 19, 18, 98, so we're at 20 actually, give or take 20. So what it is that's the gap between these teeth here and the pinion. That's what that little dial is telling me. If you go too much, it'll heat up too quickly. And then if you leave too much of a gap, it'll just chew teeth off because it'll just bounce around in each other. So you got to get this pretty much perfect, but I was just checking to see what it is. So if it's at 20, it's within, I think it's on the taller end of the spec, but we'll go for the 15, which I think is the middle. I'm pretty sure it's like 10 to 20. So if you go 15, at least you're perfectly in the middle then. So we're going to go punch one of these sides. This one here already has punch marks in it. So we'll punch this again. You don't want to mess these end caps up. They go a certain way. So it looks like probably a 10 or a 12. 10s and 19s, which are floating around. So I'll go grab some tools. Also going to put everything left and right side so I don't go mess these things up. I believe there's like a little lock here to get this air seal out. I've never done it before. There we go, that's nice and easy. Just like a little clip. Those little rubber seals that go inside there are a pain to put in, so I am not going to touch them. They look pretty fresh still. Then there's like a tool you can get to undo this. I do not have. Probably just be a couple of screwdrivers, or what do we got? Beautiful. So I've just got multi-grips. They got like little round edges on them, which slot nicely into there. You want to be very careful of these seals, this air seal here. I just whipped up this little tool just so I could make it. So it's just a bit of 5mm by 25 I had laying around. I just welded 2 high tensile bolts to it and just grounded the edges a little bit so they're smooth. Just to put into this and just do it up like that. At least that way, it's nice and easy. And I've got it if I ever need it again. Once they're loose, just wound that bad boy out. Wound this one's still tiny, a little bit tight. Get our new special tool. So much easier. All my other diffs are built with bloody screwdrivers. Did they have thread lock on them? Does not look like it. I will put thread lock back with it. That one don't want to come out. Okay, that can stay in there. Center is ready to come out. So So if I take this side off, I'll be able to change the spider gears, I think. I don't know, I've never done it before. If we want reference too, that is a broken 80 series ring gear. It doesn't even fit around like the sphere of the locker, let alone where it's meant to seat. Doesn't even fit around that. And thickness, like if you look at that compared to the patrol one, Jesus Christ, 1200 Newton meters of torque. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, today is just not my day, is it? Literally one bolt. Oh man. Oh, there we go. Tiny little suckers, these ones. No idea what I'm doing. I don't think I need to take those long ones out because you got to take the crown wheel off, and if you take crown wheel off, there's two little Allen keys which are like locators, and that right there is what holds the spheres together. See? There you go. Beautiful. Just how I wanted to see. Not, because now I've got to work out which way everything goes. So I was sitting here fighting this thing for ages, and I finally worked out how to do it. These little things here don't actually fit in between the gears. They go through the middle of the gear, like that. Because I took the bolts out before I took the separate parts out, I didn't see where they were, it just fell apart. That is why. So these actually just sleeve into the little gear once the gear's on the inside. So the gear goes on the inside, you sleeve that through, and then that locks this little gear so it doesn't move. So I'll go and take them all out now, take all the patrol ones out, transfer them to the 80 series ones. They're all the same, it's just the spline pattern. So I'll just do the whole set, and then I've got a whole set of patrols that if anyone needs. And then I'll go and just whack this in. So it should be a 2-minute job now. I spent literally like an hour trying to work this out. Idiot. They also come with like a little plate on the back of them. Don't forget to take it off and put on your new ones. Just give it a little. And you got like this big locking ring in the middle that goes just down like that. So when you hit them in, they all lock, all 4 of them lock together. All right, now we're freaking cooking, baby. Spider gears are actually really easy to change. It's just I was doing it incorrectly. This piece here has a gear on it as well. We go and swap that with that one. Same. They're just different gears, that's all it is. So now there's little springs here. They fall out. They just drop out. So I'm going to put that on the bench that way and then turn this one upside down on top of this. I might give the surfaces a bit of a tidy up first. It can literally only go one way. I'm not going to go reef on these too hard because once the crown wheel goes over it, they sandwich it anyway. They won't come out, that's why it's not getting Loctite or anything. Alright, before I go do anything else, I'm going to drop an 80 series spline into there. It's just a Burfield I got sitting there, which has the same spline on it as what the axles do. It's just easier to put that in. As you can see, that's now a patrol center with an 80 series Burfield on it. ARB have made it idiot proof, just the idiot needs to work out how to do it properly, which I'm calling myself an idiot right now because I spent ages trying to work that out and it just did not work, and it turned out to be so simple. I also dropped the locker on my bloody kneecaps, which really hurt, but hey, it now accepts an 80 series spline, which is great. Given these a tidy up, I'm just going to put 2 in, get it to come home a little. That's pretty much it. Paint texture. And put all the bolts up there. So I'm going to clean them. Once I clean them, I'll thread lock them. I'm just going to use the blue thread lock, medium. They're going to get torqued to spec anyway. I'm just going to go hand twist them all in once I clean them all, and then I'll run around, zip them up with the drill, and then get the torque wrench out. The whole point of the paint texture is I'm going to go along and mark which ones I've done once I torque them, because you don't want to re-torque something you've already torqued. I just had 2 bits of nice curved metal, some rags, but I don't think I need the rags. Right, I found it. 142 Newton meters. So we're going to start right here Absolutely reef on the goddamn thing. Okay, hectic. That's loosening. Sick. Put a line on it. I'm going to crisscross pattern as best as I can. We'll put the center back into its housing now. I'll take this out, put you back in that, put our screw back into our pinion, drop our center back in, put our racers back in. So that's nice and clean. Put bearing race number 1 in, bearing race number 2. Put a squirt of Loctite on this. I think these were like 99 Newton meters or something. I'll work out what they are. Get them started with your fingers. Make sure they're clean as well when you go put Loctite on them. Once they're started with the fingers, you know you're not cross-threading. I don't know how you're meant to actually put Loctite on, but I just hope for the best. So as per ARB spec book, 142 Newton meters, 0.15 to 0.20, so that's millimeters, is how much this needs to move. It's super hard to do one-handed, but I twisted my little face here, and I'm bang on the 80, hit it, I'm at 97, back, we're back at 80, hit it again, 96, hit it again, 80, so about 16. So we're pretty much on the tight end of the spec. 142 Newton meters for those, and then for the bearing cap, they are 99 Newton meters. So I'm gonna go torque them now. This is all good. I'm not gonna check depth or anything. I didn't change the pinion, so the pinion's the same. This sits in its own spot and doesn't move. If you go and do the pinion and all the bearings and all that sort of stuff, then you'd have to check it. Okay, that's beautiful. I believe that's as long as my shock goes. Go and jack the other side up. That's how you do it. See, it just fell on. So, what we are going to do now is we are going to pack this CV. I went for a trip to Bunnings the other day, and I just got some King Chrome grease. I read the back of it, NLG I2 lithium grease. So it's the same moly grease as what everyone else uses. This just says it's high performance grease. And then I've already got heaps of wheel bearing grease, so I didn't bother grabbing that. I just needed more tubs of these. So what we're gonna do, pack this in, get yourself a nice generous handful. I get the end of it, bend it as if it's turning. Just a second, there is a leaf in here. If you've ever got your CVs out or anything, just go ahead and check your splines, make sure they're pretty straight, they're not super worn or anything, because you'd hate to put a crappy CV back in there. Grab yourself another good handful and just like push it down into the ball bearings. Once I do the side that I'm on, turn the CV and pack the other side. Once I think I've packed most of it, I'll go and like rotate it a few times as if I'm turning and locking it up, and that's how I do it. Also, do yourself a favour whenever you go to do this, buy heaps of paper towel and clean a lot of the excess off. Stay there, boo-boo, don't move. We're gonna clean the shaft. And I also try to get it down to where your inner axle seal is gonna be, and make sure that that's nice and clean too. Now on your CV, there's like 2 flat spots. Guide it as long as you can. And then a flat spot's got to go up and down, and it should just slip straight in like that. The remaining bit of this grease, I'm just going to go throw it up into this knuckle. So general rule of thumb, they reckon 1 tub of this grease per knuckle. So this is 500 grams. So this little sucker in here, 80 series ones is like 45 mil of brass, and then 105 has brass, which is like 10 mil, and then like a little kneader roller that's like 25 mil-ish, roughly. This is all just guesstimating. Little wire brush. So now we've got our spudgy. Same thing when I was at Bunnings the other day in the automotive section. I might hit Bunnings up for a sponsor because they have a bloody automotive section. That'd be sick. I'm just joking. It's Selly's instant gas sealer. So they had red, blue, black. I just went with black because I don't know if you know, I really enjoy black looking things, in case you haven't noticed. But yeah, so it's just in a little squeeze tube. I brought a couple of them because that's going to go into my spares drawer. That's actually really handy. There is a lid that goes back over it too. I like twirl while I do it, so it sort of smooths the spudgy out and doesn't make it like 10 mil thick. I try to make it like a mil or two thick. See on the bottom here, has that little cutout. That is for the bottom. Direct 90 degrees down. I get my spindle, I slide that on, and then I put my hand through my brake, like the, I don't even know, dust cover, I'm guessing. Lift that up, get it correct, slide it in, and then slide that up to it. And then you go get yourself one of your bolts. They're 14 mil, in case anyone's wondering. Now if it doesn't go in the hole, your spindle's just slightly off. And then, once you get two in like that, I'll go nip them up. And then that way I can just thread the rest in, nice and easy. And then we'll nip them all. Make sure you check the first two that you put in. They could be loose because once you push everything nice and tight. Beautiful! Got our hub now. I'm just cleaning the bearings, the wheel bearings. Pretty sure I didn't do them that long ago, so I'm just gonna go clean them, check them, re-grease them. Re-grease everything. They're pretty good. I was just giving that a bit of a clean with the wire wheel. Bit of brake cleaner. How we knock this bearing out, I get 2 bits of steel, sit the rotor on it, and then just use an old extension and a hammer and just softly tap till it falls out. Extension. Don't really use it anymore. And just a couple nice soft taps there. Nice soft taps there. And there it goes. You turn this back over. And you'll have your bearing and your seal, just to get rid of most of the contaminated grease. Like if you look, you'll see like there's still blue bits to it, but better off just replacing it. Get one of these things for packing your bearings. Unbelievable. I used to do it the old school way by putting grease on your hand. It became an absolute mess. At the end of this bearing, you can see all the new grease just starting to push out the rollers. So it's pushing the old stuff out, putting the new stuff in. Hold it and then wipe all the old grease off. Once you wipe all the old grease off, I get a bit on my finger and just wipe it into the race, and then drop the newly greased bearing in. Leave a little bit of grease there just so when you put your seal in, it's not going in dry. You get your seal, you tap that bad boy on. You can use like a bearing and race bit. I just use a hammer. Brake clean again on that side, because once that side goes on, it's got the dust cover. It's too hard to actually, like, you can clean it, but it's way easier to clean like this. Get yourself a little bit of grease, bit of wheel bearing grease on your spindle. The inside of this hub with grease. So this is where it becomes messy. Get yourself a nice dollop. Probably not that big. Go with a 2-finger dollop so you can fit fingers in there. And all you're really doing here is you're just adding extra grease. 1, help it roll around smoothly on that spindle. 2, it's like a backup grease in case you ever need to pack your bearings on the road and you don't have any grease. All right, now we get this and we put that sucker right there. I like to put it on, repack this one, and then shove it straight in, so I don't have to drop the bearing trying to put it back together. 45,000 bits of paper towel that you have here. I give it a little spin while I do it, so when I'm pushing, it sort of centralizes itself. Another bit of paper towel, down. Then you got your little cover plate, not sure what it is. I'm just going to go get myself a piece of paper towel, clean it up, and then we'll put this bad boy on. And then we'll go get our 54mm sockets. Now, can you guess what I'm about to do with these? I'm going to get a piece of paper towel. I'm going to put them on the paper towel. I'm going to get my brake cleaner and I'm going to clean them. Oh, look at that. Also, it's best to use brake cleaner in a very refined space and uncirculated. That's what it advises to do on the can, just so you know. Not what I think you should do, it's just what the can says. Twist that on like that, nice and easy. Get our big old 54mm socket. It would have been nice if I brought the bloody ratchet over, wouldn't it? Hey Gemma, since you're just walking in, can you grab the ratchet that's over there? I like to put quite a bit of force into that first one when you set the new bearings. And you get, so my little bar I use, I put in here, I twist it around. You'll hear all the air bubbles. Twist it around a couple times till all the air bubbles stop.
Now that you need the light?
No, I don't need no light, but I got my own light, see? And then I loosen that, back it off, and then retighten it again. There is probably a torque setting that you're meant to do this at, but I just go nice and tight. Then you get your special little star, it's a little locking star. Now the trick I do with this second lock nut is get it on, just nice and smooth until, like by hand. Once it gets tight by hand like that, I'll go and knock whatever bit of the star I need to onto the back one. So that way I don't move the back one, and I also don't move the star out of its little machined home. So that's that, and then I'll go and reef on this front one. Make sure it's nice and tight against it, and then I'll pull one forward onto that star, not onto that star, onto that nut. Bend two of them around so it definitely doesn't come loose. So bend two onto the back one and two onto the front one. That one right there, that's a trick that I learned off, I was watching Tyler Thompson's videos, and Alberto dropped a few little clues and tips in the video for me. So I was paying attention, Berto, don't worry. I'm watching and I'm learning, mate. I'm watching and learning. Spoodgy, spoodgy, spoodgy. Spoodgy, spooge. Hey, look at the spooge. I'm just going to put all of these cone washers on. We'll put normal washers on, or split washers, sorry. And then we're gonna go put normal nuts on. We had a slight problem yesterday, so it's now a new day, and I'm doing this again. I broke two of these ARP studs in my hub, and then I was trying to use my easy out bits, and let's just say it decided to snap in the end of the stud, because I think the ARP ones were torqued in there that tight that this extractor screw decided to snap before the stud. So I'm now missing two, which is hell annoying because I had the problem twice. So I'm going to have to just put a normal hub back on it and not run a splined hub on this one. I do still have my factory drive flanges, and I do have a factory hub over there, which is annoying because now I have to just pull this entire thing back off, put a new one back on again, re-grease that one completely and do it all again because I am sick of this and it's trying to kill me. Right, update. We're back with a full hub assembly on. I have a drive flange, factory drive flange. Even though my car is part-time, I'm just going with the drive flanges. They're solid, less likely to break compared to a locking hub. So I ended up breaking another one just trying to remove it with the double nut trick. So I think the ARP things, once they get a bit old and soft, they just crack. Droopy boy, look at that. The wheels are on. God damn, baby. Woo! It's on a wheel. Look at it go. It spins. We're going to wrap that video up right there, guys. And as you can see, we're getting closer and closer to the home stretch now. We are flying through it. And in the next step, which I've already started doing right here, we're prepping for paint. Once we prep for paint, we can put the car back together and it'll be driving, be wheeling. I'm so excited. We're going to love you and leave you there. Hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.